Hello, everybody. It is Seth Apter, and I thank you for joining me live or on recording. I am so very excited today to share with you my newest release of fabrics with FreeSpirit Fabrics. That is what today is about, and I am going to, as always, welcome everybody who is here. And I am also going to wait a few minutes to have more people join the live. And then I am going to share all about this new collection, both in terms of the inspiration behind it and also the details on when you can get it. And I'm going to share with you all 16 designs from the fabric line. So thank you for being here. First, a big shout out to Janine, who is my team. She is behind the scenes right now. This is streaming live on both Facebook and YouTube, and she is bouncing back and forth, leaving comments in both. So thank you, Janine, for all your help. A big thank you to all of those people out there who are watching, and those of you who have supported my fabric in the past, present, and hopefully future. So let me just make mention that if you are watching on YouTube, you can absolutely follow and become a member of my channel here, and then you will get notifications of everything sooner than anybody else. So you might want to take advantage of that right now. I also want to make mention that this live is going to be staying on my YouTube feed and Facebook feed forever, but it will also be edited down and brought to my YouTube recordings, which will be an easy way to find it and a better way to watch it. So welcome, 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 everybody. I'm going to say hi to those of you who are here and leaving comments. That's Rhonda, Cheryl, Karen, Margaret, Fifi, Kyle, Linda, Janet, Catherine, Deb, Ikana, Wendy, Anne, everybody. So thank you, really thank you for being here. Let us know where you're from. You know, we got a minute or two before I begin. So if you are leaving comments, just leave a comment about your place where you are or where you're living. And let us know what countries, what states, what cities are in the house. Hey, Minka. Great to see you guys. We have people from all over the place. Leah's from Alabama. We have the Netherlands, Detroit, Indianapolis, Indiana. Nancy's here from South Carolina. Northeastern California. Hey, Cheryl. Wendy is in Fiji today. I love that. Thank you for taking time from a Fiji vacation to sit inside and watch YouTube. Oh, we have several people from the Netherlands. Excellent. Northeast Ohio. Susanna, welcome. Thank you. Snowy Virginia. Mexico. Frigid New Jersey. Yeah, it's cold. Although I don't think that Wendy in Fiji is probably cold. Hey, Linda from New York. JC. Elizabeth, Liz, JJH, thank you all so much for being here. I absolutely love these reveals. You know, as a designer, we work on collections months and sometimes literally a year plus before the time we actually get to reveal it. So we are sitting on the secret of creativity that we are not allowed to share. So that day of sharing just becomes so exciting and so joyful. And I love the fact that all you enthusiastic people are here joining me, watching me birth this collection. We'll give it another minute, minute and a half, and then we are launching, my friends. Let's see who else is here. Daphne, welcome. Margaret from California. Kyle, Colorado. Marianne from Missouri. Catherine from Richmond. Grace is in Maryland. Carrie's from Australia. Fifi, thank you so much. Giselle from London. Linda, love new things will be coming. Yes, new things will be coming. Hey, Deb. Thank you all, really, a big appreciation. This live today, it's going to unfold this way. I am going to just share very little bit of information about the collection. and tell you the inspiration behind it and what it's all about. I'm going to then just give you a very little bit of information about when you can get it, how you can help me get it out there in the world. And then I'm going to spend more time sharing and showing you the fabric itself, because I always like to say in a show and tell, it's the show that's more exciting than the tell. So we're going to spend most of our time on the tell. All right, we'll have the final moments countdown, and then we'll go. All right, we have Canada in the house as well. We are represented. The world is represented. Thank you so much. If you don't know me, because you may just happen to have found me on YouTube, my name is Seth Apter. I am here in my studio in New York City, and I am a mixed media artist. And among many other things, I am an instructor and I am a designer. And today it is all about the design. I'm going to instruct you about these designs. So, those of you who are fabric lovers and who isn't, I have been working with FreeSpirit fabrics for about 3 years now. This is my third collection, and I couldn't be more excited. People always ask me, what's my favorite? What's my favorite? They're all my favorite, but typically the current one I am working on or showing is my favorite, and that is true here. My first collection was called Storyboard, and I know many of you know it and have it. My second collection, which is still out there, Live Out Loud. And my third collection, the one I'm going to share today, is called On Your Mark. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about On Your Mark. Hi, hey, welcome everybody. I see some Free Spirit people in the house. Welcome and thank you for joining me, Nancy. So On Your Mark, what's that about? Well, it comes from the phrase, mostly, on your mark, get set, go. But there's, I think, three meanings behind it. The first one is really, the collection is about mark making. It is about my marks. It is about symbols. It is about all those things we add to our creative output that are all about the marks that we make. The marks I make are different than the ones you make, and vice versa. And so I am sharing my marks through this collection. What else is it about? On your mark, it's about making your mark. I think about all the products that I design with all my companies as tools for you to use them your way, not my way, your way. When you use my products, when you use my fabric, I don't want somebody to look at the output that you share and say, oh, that's Seth's fabric. I have that too. I want them to look and see your art. So the way I've created this fabric, it's very abstract as always, so that you can use different elements of it to put it together to make your own mark in your creative world. So On Your Mark, Get Set, Go is also about when you're on your mark, you're in place, you're ready to move, you're just about to spring. And that's what I want this to be. I want this to be an inspirational collection for you to use and then just go off into whatever creative juncture you want to go. So we're going to start and go further by saying on your mark, get set, go. So this collection, it has 16 designs. For those of you who are not familiar with FreeSpirit, they are an amazing, amazing company. It is a pure and utter collaboration between FreeSpirit and myself, which is so important to me. And they make the most gorgeous fabrics. Those of you who know fabrics know you go into the fabric store, fabric's got to have a hand. You feel it. Sometimes it looks great. It doesn't feel so good. FreeSpirit makes the best quality fabric. I am amazed at how they have translated all my artwork into the fabric that you're about to see. It is a quilting company, but does that mean you have to be a quilter to use my fabric? No. I have designed this line so that it is equally accessible and usable and functional for a quilter as it is for a mixed media artist, as it is for anybody. You might be making a bag, you might be making a doll, you might be making a card, you might be using it for scrapbook paper, you might be putting it in your journal. I have all of you in mind, and I created this to be very versatile and usable for all of you. Again, there are 16 designs. They are all 100% based on my artwork. Some of it is my artwork that I've made outside of the notion of designing for fabric, and a lot of it is designed specifically for the fabric line. We put it together. I work with the most amazing people. Debbie and Jenna are my go-tos. And Jenna in particular, she's the person who takes my work and makes digital magic out of it because it is a digital collection. This is photographed and digitally used so that all the layers, all the depth, and the gazillion, and yes, I've counted it, the gazillion colors that I put into my artwork are captured perfectly in the fabric. You get the feel of the texture, you get the feel of the depth, you get the feel of the layers. And if you don't think I'm right, tell me because you're going to see the fabric now. So on your mark, get set, go. How many times can I say that? I love that phrase now, so I'm going to be saying it a lot, and I hope you too as well. Okay. But I need to show a couple comments. Anne says, as a fabric collector, I can tell you the first two collections are fabulous colors in hand. Free Spirit makes a wonderful product. I'm with you on that 100%. Rhonda says, the fabric is so great to work with in mixed media garments and bags. Minka says, shipping to Europe. So let me tell you about that as we move to the next segment of here. This fabric, and I pride myself on this, is only sold through independent shops, independent quilt shops, independent sewing shops, independent craft stores. And it is sold worldwide. So yes, it will be sold in Europe. My current first two collections, what's left of them, are sold in Europe as well. And anybody who needs information about where to get this fabric, you can connect with me. Just message me, email me, and I will, when I find out where you are, let you know either online or in person where you can get the fabric. And one of the lovely things is that there still are some independents out there so that you can actually feel this fabric. I do want to make mention that as excited as I am to show this to you, it's not quite available to you yet. Those of you who know fabric and are intimately aware of how it works, this is being revealed now publicly because it is now available for pre-order from all the independent shops. So I am putting this out there in this world, not because you can get it today in your creative little hands, but because I need you to let your independent shop know that they need to carry this fabric. And I ask you, and I appreciate that, if you could be my speaker and you can let email, call, walk in, let all these shops know that this new line is coming out. And now is the time for them to pre-order it. They pre-order it in this relatively long pre-order window, which is a matter of months. Based on that, the company orders the printing. The printing is done, and that takes a while. It is then shipped to the shops, and it goes out to you. And if you know my last two lines, you know that unfortunately, you have to wait until, dare I say it, August to get it. I also want to make mention that Nancy, who is one of my contacts, an amazing person at FreeSpirit, just put a link where you can buy FreeSpirit fabrics. So you don't need to actually go to me, although you can. You can check it out in the FreeSpirit line. And Debbie Stark is in the house. Debbie is the person who brought me into FreeSpirit. It's the person who I work with closely at FreeSpirit. She is an amazing person. She's become my mentor. She's helped me figure out as a non-quilter, how do I make quilting fabrics? And she's become a really, really good friend. So I so appreciate you guys from FreeSpirit popping in. All right, let's see. I'm going to say more, I'm sure, but oh, I know you want to see the collection. So let's go through. I'm going to show you all 16, and I'm going to show you in the form of fabric because nothing says fabric better than fabric itself. So the first of many in no particular order is called Page by Page. So let me give you the reveal. This is Page by Page. And I'm going to just fold it in half so as the light comes through, it doesn't diminish the richness and the tone and the colors and the textures. And remember, this collection is called On Your Mark. And you could clearly see in this first one I'm showing you all the marks. And I also want to highlight, as I said before, it's digital collection. And the fact that it's a digital collection allows the sense that you are literally looking at one of my pieces of art. Dare I say this is called Page by Page because this is literally a mosaic of pages in one of my, or actually many of my mini books. So you may have seen some of these earlier online. That is page by page. Thank you all for the love and the response. I see beautiful, stunning, wow, wow. Wows are good. Love it already. Stunning, lots of smiles, gorgeous. You guys are dreamy. I love that. Um, and I kind of already has projects in mind. That is good because, again, this is about inspiring you to use this as a tool to make your art, to make your designs. All right. And Nancy says, again, one of my contacts, see page by page design here. You can actually see all of these fabrics on your own time at the Free Spirit Fabrics site. So thanks for adding that. All right, let's go to the next one. It is called Tracks. By the by, I'm really curious. I'm going to give you the name. I'm going to show you the fabrics. I want you to write down your favorites because at the end of this, I am going to ask you, what are your favorite or favorites? This is the first time I'm sharing this with the world. You're my world, and I want to see, I want to know, I want to hear which ones you love. And if there are any ones you think are duds, I can handle it. Tell me too. All right, this is Tracks. Remember, this is all about mark making. This is all about mark making and using symbols and marks that are individual, that are universal, that you can use in your way. Tracks. You're going to see a number of different colorways in this line. You're going to see a number of different flavors. You're going to see some things that are similar and familiar based on my first two collections. You're going to see some that you might be almost surprised because there's a couple different flavors and feels to this collection, but it was absolutely designed from me. It's authentic to me. And it was designed again with the quilter, the mixed media artist, with everybody in mind. And at the same time, it was designed so it can work with the collection 1 and 2. And mainly that's because all my work works together. It's kind of a consistent voice. All right. Oh, there's so many of my favorites. I love this one. It is called Landmark. All right, you ready for Landmark? The interesting thing about this fabric is it looks so different from a distance than it does from close up. But for example, Landmark, I could absolutely think about a mixed media artist, a journal artist, cutting one of these segments and using this as a front and a back page to a journal. And then let's just get a little closer. You can see there's some script in there. There's some marks. There's some color blocks and colorways. And you can see that it has some really beautiful contrast in it, some darks and some lights in all the different segments. Kyle says, the landmark reminds me of the desert. I will say that not all of it, but there is a segment of designs in this collection that absolutely are inspired by my time in New Mexico and Arizona. And in some cases, the art was made there as well. I love that note, Fifi. Possibilities are endless. That's exactly how I see it. And I know if there are 10 of you out there, all 10 of you are going to think different things and make it your own way. And Cheryl, I'm getting the peanut butter ready to go with your jam. Okay, thank you. Again, so appreciate the response. And Nancy, thank you for putting in the link so everybody can see it specifically. And remember, keep track of these because I want to hear your favorites. All right, I got script. Text is so important to me, but I've used it in a very different way in this collection. You'll notice in Landmark, there is script in there. I'm not sure you're going to be able to read what it says though. And you'll notice there is script in script. but it's a little bit of a different flavor. So this is script, again, very different from far away. You can clearly see the repeat, but let's get close up so you can see the details, because that is where the beauty lies. And once again, big props to Free Spirit for somehow working their magic to take this artwork that is so layered and so detailed and so marked up and somehow capturing those layers and that depth so effectively. Totally loving this one. And I really, really love the paleness of it. And what I also want you to note that this is absolutely not a black and white because there's sepia, there's some soft greens and blues, there are some different shades of blacks and grays, there's some taupe. It's just so many marks. All right, that is script. Again, jot down the names if you're feeling them. Kyle says, I love neutrals because you can color them yourself. Yes, these neutrals take so well to dye. This is 100% cotton. It's an incredible fabric itself, and it really does take well to dyes. And this gives you an option to shift that in so many ways. Wendy says, I won't be able to pick a favorite. You know what? You can come back at the end and say 16 are my favorite or 15, and then I'll really know which the dud was. All right, I am so excited about this next one. I am really excited about it. It's a little bit of a different shift, but I am loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So this one is called Chain Letter. And again, I'm all about text, but I couldn't just keep doing it the same way. I got text in this collection in a very different way. So this is Chain Letter. You see the letters? You see the text? All right, so let me share, let me show. And again, this is not black and white. You're going to see little splatters in the background of some beautiful sort of honey coffee flavors. I think this one is really, really user friendly. I just think you are going to be able to do so much with it. I mean, I look at this, I think this would make a great pillow. I think this would actually make great curtains. I think it would be a cool in clothes. I absolutely think it would be a great journal cover. And I think it would look gorgeous in a quilt. Gorgeous. And once again, this one would dye incredibly well. Right? Curtain? We're seeing curtains, right, people? That's just not me. All right, that was Chain Letter. This is a great, great comment to get. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I invited a number of independent shops there, and we have one. Karen says the collection has been ordered already. Thank you so much. I have some great holiday ideas for this, Karen. You are more than welcome to put a link into your shop. This is a collection, as are all my collections that are independent stores only. We need to support them. We love them. They're the core and heart of our community. And unfortunately, for quite a number of years now, we've been losing some. So it is so important to support them. So if there are any independent shops here that have my older collections or are planning on carrying this new collection, feel free to leave a link. And certainly if you have any of the first and second collection left, let us know. And I do want to make mention, for those of you who don't know how it works, that for my 3 releases, this being the third, they are one and done. One and done means that when the pre-order sells out, they don't exist. You can't order them again. The pre-order sold out. I'm sorry, the original collection I released, Storyboard, there are only 2 fabrics, a small amount of 2 fabrics out of the original 12 that are available to purchase from Free Spirit. There might be some lingering in independent stores and in my shop. Similarly, the second collection has sold out through a number of the different designs that they don't exist anymore except what stock is in stores already. So now is the time. This just makes me so happy, Leah. Thank you. I'm feeling so emotional about this fabric line. It's drawing on inspiration of expressing the threads in the fabric that makes you who you are. Ah, Poetry, thank you. I also want to make mention that I know that Facebook is glitching a bit. YouTube seems to be running smoothly, and I would just encourage everybody. These streams, this one and the ones going forward, will be streamed on both Facebook and YouTube, and I encourage you to focus on YouTube. Welcome, Shelly. Shelly's one of the reps from FreeSpirit who is helping me bring this into the world. Thank you for being here, and thanks for that comment. Catherine says, ooh, that could be a vest lining. I love that. I am being so distracted by your comments, but I know I need to get back to sharing and showing you because there's so much more. I love it. Paul says you could play word search with chain letter. Sure, for sure. And yes, Yvonne, new fabrics, sharing my new collection, make your mark. All right, let's go to the next one. Maybe a surprise to some of you. Got a little bit of a different feel. I really wanted to go with this combination of sort of deserty vibes and then very graphic vibes like you just saw with chain letter. So this is diamonds. Are we ready? Diamonds. Oh yeah, once again, looks so different from the back and the nosebleed seats than it does close up. But I love this. This will be a familiar motif to those of you who know me well, because I have this motif in one of my rubber stamps, and I just love it in fabric. I think it's amazing to be used in different ways, and I love the notion of an applique in quilting or fabric work, and also mixed media. My idea is to just cut these into strips and use them as borders and overlaps, and you can create the lines going vertically, horizontally, diagonally. You can have them sit next to each other without the gap in between. Again, 1,000,001 ideas. Yes. And as Chris says, different uses come to mind. That is my whole thing. It's just my thing. Old Notion quilting has a nice, almost Native American feel. Yeah. So I think, some of the feel from New Mexico may have gotten in other ways than the ways that it usually gets into my collection. All right. We're going to go to Finish Line. Ah, another one of my favorites. Love this one. This is Finish Line. Again, I'm always struck by how a huge slice of fabric looks so different from far away with the repeat than it does close up with the detail. Again, some of you are going to notice there's some very familiar marks here. Some of my designs I've used across many of my collections. I've used them for stamps. I've used them for stencils. I've used now them for fabric. These are the marks that speak to me. And if I'm going to be authentic to myself, I'm going to be using the ones that speak to me until they don't speak to me any longer. But I absolutely love the splatter. You can see it in the background. And the colorways of this, I think, is just, for me, just gorgeous. I think this one is kind of strong, but it's also somewhat subtle, dare I say it, in my view. All right, so that was Finish Line. And Angela, I love that everybody sees different things into abstract work, and she sees those chromosomes. Okay, well, it definitely has my DNA in it. And once you use it, it's going to have your DNA too. All right, let's go to the next one. This one is going to feel like an old friend. It has the feel of some of the designs from my first two collections, and it's got all of me in it, and it's definitely got those words. This one is called Here and Now. Again, from far away, looks one way. From close up, you can see the numbers, the letters, the marks. You can see the different color blocks. It has a little bit of a feel that reminds me of Page by Page, the first one I showed you, but it's distinct and it's different. And I absolutely adore this one. I also think that with a lot of my designs. In some cases, the repeats are small, but in some cases, the repeats are quite large, which means that you can use different segments in the same quilt and they will absolutely work together, but they won't even be repeating the same design. And I think for mixed media artists, there are tons of collage elements that you can find. And you all know, and if you don't, you will now. I love hand stitching. And these strong black marks here, all these lines, in my mind, they are asking to be used as guides to hand stitch over. Yes. Okay. That's here and now. And Bonnie says it's her favorite so far. Love that. Chris says I found my favorite. I mean, I got more to show you, so you may find another one. But to me, that's very Seth. And it's, you know, every collection, uh, every piece isn't going to be the star because you do need some that are, more for blender fabrics and maybe that have some contrast. So I consider that one of the hero pieces because, again, it has so much in it and it's got kind of my trademarks. And yeah, skirt, I can see that. People have been talking about skirts and pillows and curtains, and I love, 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 love that. Catherine says the fluidity and flow between the collections is most awesome. So important to me. If you're going to invest in Seth Apter, I want to make sure that your investment pays off, which means that when you have anything left over from an earlier collection, you can still use it perfectly well with a new collection. Every collection is going to be different. It's going to be some growth. It's going to be where I am at that moment as an artist, but I am who I am, and that authenticity and consistency is going to be showing up in all my collections. And if you've purchased my stamps, my stencils, all these things, my paints, my sprays, they're all going to work well together. The colors and marks are so cool. I absolutely love how these are coordinating to my favorite Seth After stencils and stamps. You guys are saying it better than I am. All right. Oh, every time I look down, I see it's as if it's another one of my favorites. And honestly, I used to be like, oh no, people are going to think I'm like so self centered if I look at my work and say it's my favorite. But honestly, we all want to make love to our art. We want our art to be what we love. We all want it to be like this festival of love. I'm not going to release something that is not close to my heart. So important. And so yeah, they're all my favorites. Okay. Thanks, Shelly. So appreciate that. Just keeps getting better, Seth. Can't wait to get my hands on your mark collection. All right. Love this one. It's called Alphabet City. Those of you who live in New York or have lived in New York for a long time or know about New York know what Alphabet City is. It's Avenue A, Avenue B, Avenue C, downtown in the East Village, which is now, hip, happening, and fancy, and has been for a long time. But back in the day, it was anything but. So this is Alphabet City. And seriously, this is one of my favorites. One of my favorites. I absolutely love this. I love the colors. I love the contrast between that soft sagey green and that rich coffee tone. I love the fact that it's inconsistent. It's so anything but perfect because if you know me, I think imperfect is perfect. Alphabet City. Why is it called Alphabet City? Well, a lot of my work is um, inspired by New York City. And I kind of think about if you look at this, this almost looks like buildings side by side, where each of these little gaps are windows or doors. And Alphabet City, you got to look really closely because all these little marks and splatters, they're the alphabet, my friends. Yeah, you may have just seen them as little splats and marks and blotches. And if that's okay, because I love my blotches, but each of these little marks is a letter. Again, one of my goals for this collection was to keep using text. I find it so inspirational. I find it so beautiful. I find it so meaningful, both generally and personally. But I didn't just want to have every one of my pieces just have a word on it or multiple words. I put text in there in so many different ways, in script, in some vintage script, in scribbles where it looks like words, but it's not, in letters, in these blotches. Really, 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 really. what I really wanted to do. Love the hidden letters. I love that. By the by, little secret on the side, you make art, you put in a word or a letter or a phrase that is barely legible because it's small, because it's covered, because it's kind of wonky, you are going to absolutely generate looks because people are going to move in because they want to see what is there to read. Alphabet City would make a great bag. Yeah, I kind of want to make a shirt out of it too. I got ideas, my friends. All right, let's move from Alphabet City to side by side. Side by side. Love the colors in this one. Again, you can see how it would work with this full collection. You also see how it would work with the colors in my original two links. This one's called Side by Side. I love the fact that it's at once completely muted and at the same time is bright and vivid, or my version of bright and vivid. A lot of I think people at Free Spirit laugh at me when I say, yeah, this is a bright collection. And then they put it side by some of the other designers. It's bright for me. Janine just put a comment in and it reminds me to remind you that if you are excited by these, if you like these, if you want to get hold of them, I'm going to show you some of the detail because it's not just these little oblong shapes. There's so much more. If you like them, please contact your quilting shop, contact your craft store, your art store, your sewing shop. Let them know the line is available and ask them to talk to their Free Spirit rep or ask them if they don't have the fabric to connect with their Free Spirit rep. And one of the really nice things that I'll let you know is that this collection, unlike the first two, not only is being sold to the shops in bolts so that you can get cuts of half yards and get yardage, but it is actually my first collection that is also being sold in a bundle so that you as the consumer can go into these shops and you can get a bundle, a pre-cut bundle rather than just individual cuts. And then you get the cuts of your favorite. And the shops know that. You have that opportunity now. And thanks, Janine. Really appreciate that. And again, I let you know I've invited some shops. There's Artistic Artifacts. I'm already scheduled to be in Artistic Artifacts teaching and showing and letting everybody see this collection in person and having some lectures and trunk shows in September when this collection comes out. So stay tuned for that information. All right, here's Wander. Another one that's going to be a little bit familiar in the sense that it is filled with words. Or I should say word because it is the only word. And I want you to notice, again, inspiration. I want you to notice that this does have, in my mind, a very desert feel, which is part of the inspiration to the collection. But at the same time, in my mind, it has a very urban city feel because you can think about it. Look at that grid. That feels like it's a drone's eye view of the streets of New York City. Those brown rectangles, that feels like all the buildings dotted around the city. This also feels like a walk through Central Park, or should I say a wander through Central Park. So I think it can be used really versatilely. Is that a word? Versatile ways. Janine, you got to let me know if versatilely is the word. All right. We got a few more for you people. We got more. I love this collection. It's a bounty. It's just a bounty. This one's called Assemblage. And again, for very, very different reasons, I love this. I love this. Pre-order is not available to the consumer. You guys are all the consumers. Let me just put this down for a second because I know people joined us late. The way it works with this collection is that pre-orders are now open to retail, independent shops who carry the collection. So if you're a quilt store, a sewing store, a craft store, an art store, this is when you go to your Free Spirit rep or contact Free Spirit to get a rep and you order this, you pre-order it so that it can be ordered by the company and then eventually in August, which is a long time away, I know, my friends, in your creative hands. All right, so bold notion quilting. I'm not sure if you're talking about the first one I just showed or the last one I showed. So just to show you both, this is Wander, and this is assemblage. And Janine already answered it. Janine, I don't know how I ever survive without you being my go-to person behind the scenes. So thank you. Tiffany says, I absolutely love your art. I'm a quilter and love working with your fabric. Many blessings. Right back to you, Tiffany, and thank you. I so appreciate you using my fabric. And yeah, it looks like people are loving this one. Let me just take a moment to give you some of the details. This is just an assemblage, really, of everything. So many small elements. And again, for a mixed media artist, you could pull that segment out, that segment out. You could cut out those three circles. You could use that element right there just as background. You can choose the words. And for a quilter, this could become multiple areas within your quilt where you have that cohesion, but each one has a different flavor and a different flair. And it kind of says my fave stamp on assemblage. Love that. And this and Wander has an Asian flair to your eye. Love that. I love Asian calligraphy. Um, Many of you might know that I'm taking a group to Japan in 2026. So it sometimes gets in. It's certainly not my cultural heritage, but it's an inspiration for me. All right, we got more. We got so many more. We got so many more. I thank you all for hanging in there because this is a lot. And I will tell you, I know many of you came late. I am going to do a very, 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 very real friendly, real as an REEL, run through of each of the 16 fabrics, one right after the other without any interruption. And I know I say that, and you know I always interrupt, but I promise. All right. And before I show you the next one, Artistic Stamper, a shop in the UK will be carrying the fabric. That is great. I so appreciate that. You can certainly put a link in um, and let people know who you are, where you are. And I think you might also have some fabric left over from the first two collections still available. All right. So you remember chain letter? People are saying chain letter. Which one's that? Which one's that? You will know it again when you see chain mail. So remember that alphabet? Well, this is the alphabet in a different scale with a different flavor because of that beautiful, soft, ethereal, dreamy, sky-like, sea-like background. Again, my whole goal was to keep my sort of signature of having text, but have it in so many different ways. And I absolutely excited about using this in strips as well. And even cutting out, yes, I will do this, cut out individual letters and reassemble them and spell out words, phrases, maybe even paragraphs. I think I'm getting some love for this one, which is great to see. I really love it too. I was very excited when I worked the design again. Big shout out to my peeps at FreeSpirit who take my art and work with me digitally to make it the collection. Couldn't do it without you, Jenna. I don't know if you're watching, but maybe you'll watch at some point. Your skills are unparalleled. You and I are amazing collaborators. I think your name should be on the fabric along with mine. Um, because together we have created, I think, something really special. Okay, we got three more, my friends, and then the quick run through. We have contours. We have some dark to go with some of the light. We have some beautiful contrast in terms of darks and lights in the collection. I love this one. It's just so layered. It's folded over. Um, Chris, to answer your question, the more black and white one is called chained letter. The one that has more of the soft greens and blues in the background is chain mail. I love this one. This one is just, you know, that word rich, it has so many connotations to me. The depth and the richness of these colors, again, captured by Free Spirit in a way that has always exceeded my expectations. Just so wonderful. I think this one is also, you know, dare I say, a little macho without having a truck on it. One of the things that I've gotten feedback over the years for a lot of what I do is that people are often looking for designs to put on a card for their husband, or their son. They're looking for something that might not always be traditionally feminine. They're looking for something that maybe has a little bit more of an harder edge, or I don't know. I don't even know what it is. Maybe just because it comes from me as a male, it feels more male. I don't know. But I do appreciate that you guys are aware that this collection provides something that um, is not loaded already in the marketplace. Beautifully grungy. I like that. I like that. Okay. All right. We got two more for you. You guys may or may not remember diamonds, but this one is kind of like diamonds, only it's zigzag. And oh, it's just from far away. I love how that reads, but I like it even better how it reads close up. This is one of those where, depending upon how your eye sees it, you either focus on the black zigzag or you focus on the colors, and you kind of get a completely different feel, a completely different feel to it, depending upon how you see it. But I love this one. I will tell you, it kind of reminds me a little bit, dare I say it, of Charlie Brown and the t-shirt that he wears. But I kind of like that because I like a sense of history in my fabric. I love the fact that Wendy sees her heritage in it, in Indian feel. Um, and going back to this notion of fabric being masculine and feminine, I think I need to focus on gender neutral. Love that, Debbie. All right. Zigzag is eye popping. That is so cool. Um, Love that. Bold Notion Quilting says this one is neat. It throws your eyes for a loop, which would look so cool in a quilt. Yeah, it's definitely kind of got that, like, you know, psychedelic kind of feel. Um, Zigzag will make a great shirt. Retro. Yeah, that's the Charlie Brown in it. Charlie Brown. You didn't see the blue from far away. Yeah, so what I do want you to note is that some of the fabrics that might initially appear as black are actually this really, 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 really rich, dark, excuse me, inky blue. Swoon for zigzag. I got a swoon. Thank you, Janet. So appreciate that. Julie says, my eyes automatically search for colors, and I love the subtle tones in that one. Yeah. I mean, it's such a good contrast between the soft, subtle and that rich, dark zig, zag. Um, Cheryl says the diamonds are a girl's best friend, so we like that. All right, we got another shop here. I just ordered some of your older collection in a Dutch quilt shop. Oh, that's not a shop. That is somebody working with a shop. Thanking you. I'm thanking you so much for connecting already with the shop to see if they'll collect the new fabric. Excuse me. All right. Beth wants to know, is the zigzag an indigo? That zigzag is actually a black. But look at the next one and the last one, because that one um, is the dark inky blue. And this one, I love this one. It's called Maze. That's Maze. I think this is just beautiful from a distance, but I adore this one close up. And again, the motifs, the symbols, they're ones that I've made and I've used in other products. I think it's just so great, this notion that you can get different products that work all together. And it's so nice that my companies that I work with they enable me and encourage me and allow me to use designs from one for another because it's just the way it should be. It's a full-on collaboration. My brands know if you get me, you get all of me, and that means you get my uh, other product companies that I work with. And there's going to be overlap. There's going to be collaboration because that is what, in my mind, is the key to a better world. If we all support each other, if we all work together, if we all lift each other up, and if we all enhance each other's ability, there is room for everybody and everything. So that is Maze. So I'm going to show you really fast all 16 designs, and then I'm going to show you one other thing, and then I'm going to ask you for your favorites. All right. All right. So are you guys ready? You get your pencils? I don't know if anybody has pencils anymore. Well, if you're an artist, you do. Get your Stabilo Alls, get your Microns, get your calligraphy pens, whatever, and write down the names of your favorites because I am going to take a quick survey. All right, are we ready? I'm going to double these up just to get better views. So this is page by page, page by page. This is tracks. This is landmark. This is script. This is chain letter. Just so excited about this one. This is diamonds. We have finish line. Finish line. We have here and now. We have Alphabet City. We have side by side. We have wander. Next up is assemblage. Or for those of you who like fancy phrases, assemblage. But I'll call it assemblage. All right, we have chain mail, not to be confused with chain letter. We have contours. We have zigzag. And we have maze. Last, but definitely not least. All right, we're getting some favorites. All right, before you put in your favorites, I just want to show you one other thing because I've shown you all these separately, so you don't have a sense about how cohesive this collection is. I can give you that with a little bit of shine on one of the tools that FreeSpirit provides, which is this amazing board which shows you the collection together. And I know that there's going to be, yeah, let me tilt it. You can just see the beauty of that collection, the fact that it's called On Your Mark because of all the marks. You can see the colorways, you can see the contrast between the darks and the lights. You can imagine, I hope, how this could work with your storyboard fabric, how this could work with your Live Out Loud fabric, and a lot of other fabrics that you probably have, not to mention everything else. But I absolutely adore that. And just to show you what a primo company that FreeSpirit is, this exists too. And this is hard to show you whole, but this is shown to all the shops in advance so that they can pre-order. And each of these elements on here, are we seeing that? Sort of, are actual slices of fabric. So people can feel, and you can get a really good sense of the collection that way too. So that before they buy, they feel how amazing the fabric is. All right, let's see. All right, I want to go back and I want to see which ones you love the best. First, I want to make mention of Nancy. Again, one of the people I work with at FreeSpirit. It's a 16-piece fat quarter. It gives you a taste. I love that. It's a taste. It's a nibble. It's a morsel of every fabric. And then you go back and you buy your slices, your cuts that are larger of your favorite. All right, so Janine, I am going to start reading out the favorites, and I want you to kind of listen, and I want you to note in your head, which ones do you hear the most often? All right, let's see. Let's see. And then I'll one more time tell you when this is releasing and how you get it and who will have it. All right, Tracks, Landmark, Here and Now, and Zigzag. Chain Letter, Alphabet City, Side by Side, Assemblage, Chainmail, Contours, Zigzag, and Maze. That's a lot of favorites. And only one coincided with the first one. So favorites all around. Tracks is my favorite, then Assemblage. I have 5 favorites. Okay. Tell me which ones. Tell me which ones. Let's see. Page by Page is my favorite. That is decisive. I love that. Here and Now and Assemblage are a tie for my faves. Let's see. Contours and Script are my favorites right now. I absolutely adore the fact that not one is showing up everywhere because this collection is for you all and the variety is a component of it. Landmark, Chain Letter, Finish Line, Alphabet City, and Assemblage. Page by Page, Diamonds, and Chain Letter. Absolute faves are Assemblage, Page by Page, Script, Maze, Alphabet City, Side by Side, Wander, Here and Now, Contours, Chainmail, and Tracks. Contours for the win. Love that. Page by Page, Assemblage, Here and Now, Side by Side, Diamonds, Finish Line, Wander, Chainmail, Maze, Landmark, Chain Letter, Alphabet City, Side by Side, Assemblage, Chainmail, Contours, Zigzag, and Maze. Is this helping anybody? Probably not. I'm probably going to go from how many people are here to nobody. Page by Page, Here and Now, Assemblage, Chainmail. Page by Page, Script, Assemblage, Maze. Really, all of them. Assemblage is number 1. That's gotten a lot of love. I will say that. Chainmail, Here and Now, also gotten a lot of love. Page by Page, Landmark, Here and Now, Wander, Contours. I say so far the ones in my head, Page by Page, Here and Now. You guys might not even remember which ones these are. And maybe Assemblage and Chainmail. Page by Page, Landmark, Script, Alphabet City, Side by Side, Tracks, Script, Chainmail, Here and Now. Collection board is a work of art. I agree with you, and that is testament to how FreeSpirit put that together. Here and Now, Page by Page. Yeah, a lot of people want to buy the folder. Well, I'm going to tell you guys, I am working on something that I've been wanting to do for the first 2 collections, and I hope to do for the 3rd collection, is I hope to create a limited number of old school fabric swatch books. You know how you go to a flea market and you come across this like old book that has all these pieces of the fabric that maybe a sales rep from, you know, the 1950s, the 1810 they probably had sales reps in 1810, used to show and share. And so I want to make some very special limited edition ones. So those will appear sometime later this year. All right, you guys, I could keep reading, but um, I'm going to bore you. I just want to thank you all for taking the time to watch, listen, and actually write down your favorites. So wow. Okay, so Janine says, can I just say that everyone loves everything and call it good? You can. And Janine, I promise you, I'm not going to go back and ask you to go through all the comments and write a list and tally it and tell me the winner. No, I'm not going to. Really, I'm not going to. All right. Um, All right, so if you, before I thank you one more time and say see you later, I just want to remind everybody that this is my newest collection from Free Spirit Fabrics. It's called On Your Mark. It is now released into the world of retail. So retailers now have a chance over the next number of months to pre-order this collection for their store. There are 16 designs. It's 100% cotton. It's digitally printed. For the first time, one of my collections is also being sold in shops, pre-ordered in shops as a fat quarter bundle. And I also want to make mention that this collection, like the first two, are one and done, which means for the shops and also for the consumers down the line, once it's sold out, it doesn't exist anymore. And based on this reaction, I'm hoping that maybe the retailers will say, I better get a lot of this because I don't want to lose my chance, because I don't want to make my customers not happy that they can't get it. I also will tell you that it's a long pre-order period, and then there's a period where the fabrics are actually made and then shipped. This all takes time, my friends. So you will not see these until August. And I promise you, I'm not going to be spending months and months and months sharing these fabrics with you, making you want them and not being able to have them. I'm going to disappear. These fabrics are going to disappear. But for the next month, maybe, you're going to see them everywhere because I need you. I want you. I'm asking you, thank you, to share this information with quilt shops, sewing shops, art stores, and craft stores online and brick and mortar so that they can get in on the pre-order. And if you love them, I appreciate that. If you don't like them, please don't do that. And that way, together as a community, we can lift each other up. We can lift the independents up. We can lift you guys up to have tools to make the art you want. And you can also lift me up because, it means Free Spirit will keep me on for another collection. Yeah. All right. So that's the deal. I'm going to spend the next minute or two saying, see you later. So those of you who need to go, thank you for being here. Again, I'm going to remind you that this will stay on Facebook and YouTube, but I will be cutting this down. It's about an hour, just over an hour. I was hoping for an hour, so I'm just over that. I'm going to cut this down to much less, maybe a 20, 25-minute video that I will put up on YouTube. So if you missed the whole thing and you just want to wait for that, that will magically appear soon. So let me just thank you all. Great job, Seth and Free Spirit. Thank you for bringing the texture and color in our walks of life. Looking forward to the release for your birthday in August. That is perfect. Carolyn, thank you. Another wonderful collection. It's a long wait until August. It is. I know. I'm sorry. But you know what? You can play with all the fabric you have. Let's get that back online. Let's see what you got. Thank you, Chris, for being here. So appreciate it. Oh, yes, it's released at a time where in advance of next winter, you can make a great quilted coat. Thank you, Anna, for the congratulations. Really, I so appreciate all of you for being here. I appreciate all my peeps like Shelly from Free Spirit who showed up for me here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tiffany says, I'm hoping the shop I work at part-time is planning to carry this line. Well, Tiffany, I know that you're their favorite employee. They've told me that. So you let them know that they need to have it, and I know they'll listen to you. So thank you all. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the enthusiasm. Again, I've been laboring on this collection, even if it's a labor of love, it's a labor for, I don't know, a year? No, not a year, 8 months. And it's the reveal. This is the first time I'm getting feedback. So I do appreciate the enthusiasm here. I really, really, really do. The question from Bold Notion Quilting is your normal pre-order month in January. For the way I've been releasing collections up to this point, The initial pre-order period begins in January, but that runs, I don't know the exact amount, and maybe Nancy, if you're still here, you can share, but I believe it runs at least 3 or 4 months for the initial pre-order period. But yes, my collections up to this point have kicked off in January. Thank you all so much. Again, I appreciate it. Your support, your enthusiasm, your love. I feel it. I feel it through the internet. And I'm so appreciative. And, in August, when I reveal this again, then I'm going to be really excited because then I know I'm going to see the makes that you guys do. So thank you so much. Be on your mark, be ready, and we will go. And thank you, Janine, for all your help. Bye, everybody.